Hi, Adam.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So welcome to my podcast. It's called At the Kitchen Table, where we guide, inspire, and connect entrepreneurs. And that be you. And so you called me the other day and we were chatting and I said, you should come on the podcast. Let's just meet. So welcome to Adam Maxey with Colorado Home Realty, a longtime family friend and professional friend of mine, somebody that I respect a lot and have had just a dynamic relationship because we're both second generation real estate agents. And so for that reason, I wanted to just chat with you and kick stuff around and see how your business is going and talk a little bit about sports and coaching and working with our parents and some of the hilarious stories around that, and just a little bit about, what's driving you in your business and go from there. So why don't you start by telling me, just back up and tell me a little bit about how you've come to today and who you are.
First and foremost, thanks for having me on. The admiration is very mutual. Obviously, I look up to you a bunch. I think you're one of the best in the business. So rewind. My mom's Karen Nichols, Hall of Fame agent. She was in the business since, as I'm sure you experienced, I was 6, 7 years old in elementary school, getting picked up late from school from my mom, who was rushing from showings and open houses and whatever the business brings. But through osmosis, I've been in this business my whole life. She was a Remax girl from like 93 until she retired pre-COVID. So it was something that was very intertwined in me, the real estate business my whole life, as I'm sure it is with you.
Yeah, right. I mean, you're cut from it. It's like you're riding in the car and she's negotiating inspections, or you're...
Right.
And so
map
you
books.
just, that stuff, just the old map book, yes. Can you remember those? MapsCo, map book.
Yeah, so I know how to navigate the Denver metro area on a map book pre-phone. I mean, my teenager can't make it to McDonald's without the GPS. And now I know how the Denver access works as far as the grid, because I was, again, indoctrinated in this. What kind of brought us together is, obviously there's been an admiration and mutual respect. I think more so on my side, because you're an OG. That's not me calling you old. That's just saying you put in your work.
I'm the OG. Yeah, I'm a young OG.
Yeah, you're a young OG. So yeah, I was just excited to come. I mean, I think the one thing that we do that's very similar in our business is that we are ourselves no matter what. And I think that's key. So I think that one thing that maybe might attract you to me a little bit is through my various ups and downs of perspective of success, I am always my authentic self. So I think that's important. So that's why I'm here today.
So you grow up in the business from a hardworking mom, and your mom is dynamic and wonderful and was a great broker. And so you cut your teeth on the business. What brought you into the business? What made you decide to get into real estate? How did you make that jump from like, I'm not going to be anything else in the world to I'm going to be a broker and work for my mom?
Well, I was telling your crew here, I went to college at Metro, and I went to college for broadcast journalism. My dream was to be the next Stuart Scott. I wanted to be a sports announcer. I have done sports podcasts. I still feel like I want to go to the NBA, even though I'm like a 5'9" white guy with arthritis. That's not very great. But like I'm 40 and I haven't given up on that dream yet.
That's okay, man. You got a growth mindset, right?
Yeah,
you got to keep her
100%.
going, yeah.
So I went to Metro for broadcast journalism, and then I went and worked retail. And as you know, in retail, you don't make any money. And I was great at it. I ran a Foot Locker and a Clark's, and I was successful in that venture, but it just didn't feel like I was living up to my potential. And one thing about this career that we picked is potential is unlimited. As hard as you want to work is what you'll get in this business. And so I was about 26, and I met sorry to kind of backtrack. I've been with my wife for 16 years. We've been married for 11. When we got together, she had a 1.5-year-old son. And I was 24, she was 23, and I had to grow up. And so making $38 a year just wasn't going to cut it for what I needed to do for the family. So I needed to go make money.
Yeah, instant family, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I needed to go make money. And this job takes some maturity, and it takes some gumption in this career that we did. And so I called my mom and said, I'm ready to go. And she said, no, you're not. You still need to grow up. And then I said, I'm ready. I went and I got on my license and got done. And the rest is kind of history.
So certainly having the family is something that became a driver for you.
100%.
Which I think a lot of people do. They sort of grow up, they become internally driven because it's about not just themselves anymore, it's about other people. And actually that's probably the growth I've seen in you in our friendship, right? Is that there was this point where you became this dad that now served somebody else greater than you in your life. And so that's where most of us, I think, grow up. And I think that's true across any entrepreneurial business, but across life, that like the minute you become a parent, it becomes more about somebody else.
Yeah, it's bigger than you.
That's right.
Yeah, you see the gray beard, so.
Well, how old are they? Do you have just the one kid?
I have a 17-year-old stepson who's a junior at Arvada West, and I have a 9-year-old daughter who turns 10 in July who's in 4th grade at Vanderhoof.
So those are fun. I mean, actually, the two kids are doing two totally different things in life right now, which is super fun. But
yeah, it's a good dynamic spread. It helps, and the 17-year-old does a good job helping support as kind of not really babysitter, but quasi leader in the house for the 10-year-old.
Yeah, that sounds great. I look at the business that you're running, which has been very successful, very steady, very successful business. What do you think, like, when you step back from the day-to-day sales and you think about what makes real estate agents successful, what do you think those things are? Maybe the 3 things that make for a successful broker.
Give me 3 things. You're already trying to pigeonhole me, so I'm not long-winded. I appreciate that.
Well, you could do 2 or 12.
Okay. Well, I know that when I first started with my mom, before I took the leap when I was 22, she was very big in her business in search engine optimization, SEO, right? And she, and she was like a pioneer on Google before they had limits and it was the Wild West. She met some really, really, really intelligent dudes from Boulder that helped build their websites. And my job as a 22-year-old was to cultivate leads online, which made me realize that's not how I want to run a business. I'm not a lead. I'm a person that wants to work with people I like and trust and people that like and trust me.
That's right. Yeah. People to people, belly to belly.
100%. Yeah. And that's what I've built my business on is taking care and servicing and providing love and value for my friends.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And it's such a warm business, isn't it? When you can go to a kitchen table with a client and just be in a place of trust, right? You're not trying to impress them. You're not trying to be something you're not. You can just go there, be your authentic self and earn their business and do a good job for the people that you like the most in life. And that's a perfect real estate business, if you ask me, is the repeat and referral based business.
Well, your dad was a blueprint for that, wasn't he?
Oh, for sure. Yeah, 100%. I mean, the birthday phone calls, the handwritten notes, the client parties, the personal touch, the excellent service, the follow-up, the tenacity. And, I think if those are guiding principles for any business, I think that there's success there for sure too. Yeah. So
I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah. It's interesting. One of the things that has stood out in our friendship is that you are a super sports related guy. Like, you love sports. Every time I see you, you're making sports analogies and you're tying a lot of your real estate business back to sports. And I think you were doing some coaching for your kids. Is that right?
Yeah, I coached for 12 years. I coached at North High basketball. I coached my son. I ran I didn't run, but I was very much engaged in the Arvada West feeder program for basketball for like 6 years. Did some football. But yeah, coaching was a big part of who I am.
Yeah. Talk about how your involvement in sort of this youth leadership, which this is, community work that you're doing as a coach, is just so commendable.
Thank you.
So for that, I thank you, because really kids need good coaches. But how did that help your real estate business? How were you able to tie sort of that service part of your business back to be beneficial to you in real estate?
It was pretty transcendent, to be honest with you. I believe when you hire an agent, you're hiring a coach. And I believe that it's my job as a coach is to game plan, be prepared, work hard, and win. And I feel like that's what we're trying to do in a real estate transaction. And I feel like the number one mistake that agents make is they treat the real estate transaction like it's theirs, but it's not theirs. It's your client's. And so I treat the client almost like an owner of a sports franchise. They hired me to be the coach. They hired me to put all the pieces in play to win. So the role players are the stagers and the contractors that you hire, but the star players are the lenders and the closers. And my job is to game plan, be organized, and be diligent, and also stand up for my team. Like, I think one of the most powerful things a coach can do is be respectful, but also not be a pushover, and stand up to make sure that you are kind of the gumption behind the process. So that's how I try to run my real estate career, is as a coach. I try to put us in position to win. And there's going to be losses, there's going to be wins, but the more prepared you are, the more you're going to win.
Yeah, that actually was the most articulate and lovely thing you have ever said to me, because it comes just straight from the heart, for real. I mean, but what you just said there is the thrust of this business, and tying it back to your basketball career really is so apt, and it's And it's perfectly put because, standing up for your clients, being the guide, being the connector, keeping those pieces together. I love it. I love it. I mean, actually, that is so natural and inherent for you.
I need to encapsulate it more. Like, I feel like I could market that,
Well, I think you could continue to build your brand around it for sure, which I think, that's the stuff because that's your identity. That's the place where people relate to you the most, that they know you have passion. And so when you can kind of get those to breed, then all of a sudden you've got this little thing that's so impactful. But I mean, I see in you the sort of the coach in you, will make for a naturally good real estate coach, but you've just started doing some professional coaching yourself. So talk to me about how that's going and what are you learning?
Nothing but love and admiration for my RE/MAX time. But the reason I left RE/MAX and went to Colorado Home Realty is because I needed to figure out how to run my own business. And I was kind of subservient shell of what my mom's business was, and I never really leaned.
That's a trap, though, for us, too, by the way.
Hard.
Yeah, as a second-generation agent, you think you are doing the thing you're supposed to do, and sometimes you get trapped in the thing that you were told you were supposed to do that isn't necessarily the right thing to do.
Yeah, it's 100% ownership on me, but I wasn't running my business. I was running the business of what I thought my mom wanted it to be.
Sure, I feel that.
And so, I didn't even have my friends in my database. I was like, I didn't even...
You're working her database, but not your own.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm in 4 fantasy football leagues, and I'm not marketing to these people.
Sure.
But anyway, Colorado Home Realty came at the right time because it was at a crossroads of what I needed as far as coaching, marketing, and accountability. So that's where I'm really leaning into now. As far as coaching, I'm on a team with Patrick Laurenti. Patrick Laurenti is an absolute rock star. I just got off a team meeting with him. We just have fun. The business, when you're around people that are doing it at a high level and you hold yourself accountable, it's one of the funnest businesses you can ever be a part of.
Besides the hard parts of the business, which is, the long hours, the weekends, the evenings, the 10 p.m. Sunday phone calls, but almost none of that matters if you're having fun because that doesn't feel like work. I don't mind doing those parts of the business when you're winning or surrounding yourself with people who are in a growth mindset or surrounding yourself with people like Patrick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's cool. I love it. And I do think that the sort of the sports and business connection is just clutch.
Well, there's a competitive drive. You have that, like you just said, the hard part about it is the long days. And I would venture to say for you and me, we share similarly that it's harder for probably other people in our lives than it is for us. Because I'm just wired to drive from Fort Collins to Windsor to Castle Rock. Right. And it doesn't, that putting in the work doesn't bother me, but it bothers other people around me sometimes. And it does, I could feel thin at times, but it actually, I find strength and I don't know, the work ethic involved in really trying to do this job correctly is one of my favorite parts about it. I really like to grind.
Yeah, well, it creates a grit that is, you can't get anywhere else actually. And, I think certainly I've looked at 10 or 12 different ways to try and roll around in this business to try and make it not that. And I just don't think it's possible. I think sort of the uniqueness of the real estate industry is that the people who I'm co-oping deals with are willing to grind and drive from Fort Collins to Castle Rock if needed. And so thereby you have to stay. You have to agree to that. That's just a part of the social contract that is real estate, which is I'm going to grind because I'm new in the business and I want to drive from Fort Collins to Castle Rock. Thereby there is no tenure in the business for somebody like me, which is I wake up today unemployed just like you do.
100%.
And so we have to grind whether we like it or not. And that's just the nature of the way the business is. And not everybody is cut out for it. Don't you find it funny when people call? How often does somebody say to you, like in your database, like, I was thinking about getting into real estate. And does your head fall off your shoulders and roll around on the ground, or do you feel optimism for them?
I don't. I don't. My mom when we used to sit down with people that wanted to get into business, and it's a great business, get into it. If you have it, you got it. If you don't, you don't. It's hard.
That's right.
But it's back to kind of rewind what we were talking about. I one time was doing a deal, and I called the agent on an inspection resolution day, and the agent said, "Today's my day off." And I was like, what are the F are you talking about? Like, what does that even mean? Like, no, it's not your day off. It's resolution day. So handle this and then go take a day off. But for people that want to get in the business, what I tell them is make sure that you know what drives people to you. If you're popular, you're popular. If you're analytical based, you're analytical based. But figure out what you're good at, and that's what your niche is going to be.
That's right.
make sure you have about $40,000 in your savings account.
At least, yeah.
Because it's going to take you 2 years of spending every dollar you have. And I don't really love the fake it till you make it kind of motto in this business. I would kind of go the other way. I think that it's important to surround yourself with a successful team and then use that team's success as your success. Instead of acting like you're doing it, give the credit to the people that are. And it's okay to not know, but it's okay not to not know and not figure it out.
Yeah, we have a lot of double negatives in there, but your point is
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but no, I love it. I mean, which is, yeah, and I like the way you said it, which is either you have it or you don't, and it's okay not to know the thing early in the business. But you have to give credit where credit is due. And I do think, looking back, you and I both did that with our parents' credentials, that I was, riding on my dad's coattails, if you will, for a time. But I know your mom, like my dad, didn't give me any money. Now, he gave me some opportunity and a whole lot of knowledge and a really nice platform to stand on to build the business from. But I mean, I certainly grew up in a place where my dad wasn't giving me money, that's for sure. And if he was giving me money, it was with interest, compounding interest, yes. In a loan, secured by something. I don't know, or I don't remember, but, certainly that wouldn't have made me a better broker had my dad made it easy for me.
No, it's a learn by fire business. I mean, there's only one way. I think there's only one way to really learn it is to do it.
Do you remember your learn by fire moment? Do you have
Oh gosh, I still have them every single transaction.
I know, but do you have the very first one where you're I'll tell you mine and then maybe you can think of one. So I can remember I got my real estate license the 12th day of May in 2003. And my dad left for the Cayman Islands the last week of June, which in 2003, there was no reaching him in the Caymans. I don't remember. Was there email? Maybe, but I don't think he could check it from there. I don't remember. But I just knew when he was leaving, that was it. I was in charge. I was a total rookie. I mean, I only had the driving around in the car thing we were talking about as a kids as my anchor to how I was going to negotiate these deals. And he left with 11 clients under contract.
Holy buckets.
Buckets. And so I just remember winging it big. I mean, I was put to the test, essentially, right then, put to the fire. And I kept his deals together, and we successfully had closings, and I negotiated inspections. And actually, one of the greatest gifts he gave me was that, he was gone to the Cayman Islands for a week, and I was here holding down the fort.
You had to learn how to swim.
I did swim. And so I think I look back on that now and remember that as a thing that just really was changed the way I saw the business and realized that I was capable.
Mine's a little more melancholy, but when my mom got sick, her back went out, and she had to go out of the business for about 10 months. And then it was, okay, either figure it out, or it's not my business that implodes, it's the family's
somebody
business
else's. So that's right.
You
Yeah.
know? And so it was, you had to figure it out. And it again correlated back to coaching or a game. You're down 20 and they're full court pressing. You can't panic. You have to figure out a way to get around it. You have to figure out a way to come together, and you have to stay the course, and you have to stay committed towards a bigger goal. You can't fall apart. You have to continue to get better and continue to try to get to your goal, which is to make everybody happy.
Yeah, I had forgotten about your mom's bad back injury or subsequent, but that really became that was when I actually saw you step in. So that is a formative moment for you in your business, right? When your mom got sick, you were able to come forward, and you were prepared to do that at that time.
I wasn't, but I had to be, so I had to put
Well, you made it look like you were, yeah.
I mean, it was a lot. I mean, she had her portfolio was really expansive. She was kind of getting where she fits in. I mean, we were doing custom homes, we were doing Bonnie Bray, Observatory Park, Highlands, and so there's a lot of knowledge and a lot of. I mean, I just told you earlier, I don't like to fake it till I make it. But in that moment, I kind of had to a little bit, because I wasn't the expert I wanted to be, but I had to be the person that was willing to do whatever it took to be the expert in that scenario.
That's so good. Yeah, it's so good. It's so true. What do you think the best piece of advice is? Do you want your kids to be in the business? And
my kids don't want to be in the business. I'll tell you that.
They don't.
But I didn't either when I was a kid. I wanted to be an NBA basketball player. But my advice I would always give is always just be true to yourself and follow your heart. And regardless of whatever career that pulls you, I feel like there is a calling of God for me to coach and to lead. And I get that bucket filled in real estate. And so that feels natural for me. I tell my friends, don't hire me because I'm your friend. Hire me because I'm the best. And that's one of my favorite lines that I've been using. And I want to be the best. And I want to do that in whatever I do. And I have a long road, but I'm conscientious of that. For my kids, my daughter, I think she's more organized and more kind of, I feel like she has that drive to people. She kind of has a light in her. My son is he's more of a player. I think he would more so want to, I don't know if real estate would be the pull for him. I think the money, like the buying real estate and like being an investor might fit him more. He's kind of more analytical. But I mean, this business is it could be for everybody. It could be for nobody. It's hard to tell.
Yeah. Where do you see the business going? What do you think the business looks like in 5 or 10 years?
I think the cream is going to rise to the top. I think there's 40,000 agents and there's 150 good ones.
You think what's the 80-20 rule is more like 97-3?
Well, I know that there's a lot of threats but there has been. I mean, we've been seeing this for 20 years of all the fly-by-night companies and all the threats. And I think now more than ever, people are informed and want to work with someone that can protect them. And so I think that through all the lawsuits and all the things coming down the pipe, what is going to really separate the good from the bad is a consummate professional. So people are always going to need to buy and sell a property. It's always going to be, in my opinion, the number one best asset and number one best investment you can make is buying real estate. So as long as we sharpen our tools, I don't see us going anywhere.
Yeah, it's interesting. I was having a conversation about sort of AI today downstairs and just where that goes for the business. And it's interesting. I feel like the customers are here, the clients, the people we serve, our databases, the people we love. And the real estate agents here, and for me, AI is behind the real estate agent, not in between the relationship. And so
I agree.
I feel like as long as we continue to leverage these tools to serve our businesses, we'll be able to continue to serve the client. And I do think you're going to see some pretty significant changes with AI. I mean, across every industry, I think the business changes at the hand of that. You and I were both around when the internet was going to destroy real estate. And so when that didn't happen, what you realize is the internet just became a tool to the broker. And I see AI much in the same way, that I think the future of real estate is going to be more technology heavy, but somebody still has to be the human connection to the heart of the business.
People buy with feeling and heart. You know, when you buy anything, if you go into a car dealership and you buy, and we're by no means am I trying to compare real estate and cars. It's one of my least favorite things people do, actually. But if you go in and buy a car and you get a sleazy, gross vibe, you don't want to do it. It sucks. And I feel like in our industry, it is the biggest financial business decision people will make within themselves. And they're going to buy your feeling and heart. They want to be protected. They want to be loved. They want to be cared for. They want to be nurtured. AI is never going to be able to do that, but AI is a tool that I could use to show them that I'm going to give them heart with more substance.
Yeah, it's so true. And actually, that's exactly how AI is going to help us, is that I'll be the heart. I'll be the human. I'll be the person who can come to this transaction with compassion, and I'll let AI be the tools that get me more productive or more practical. But to your point, the cream that rises to the top is going to be people who are integrating their businesses and continuing to move in the direction of technology as a tool. And so, yeah, it's interesting. I do think the business is, they say it's unique and infrequent and expensive, and you just need somebody who will guide you, which is how I see myself, right, as a guide. The technology has given the consumer so much access to information that they don't need me to show them a house anymore. You don't need me to find you a house. You can find a house on the internet. I mean, thanks to the ants on the ground who are the real estate agents who keep putting it into the magic listing system so that you can find them. I mean, no thanks to that little triangulation. But you don't need me to find a house anymore. What you need me to do is cut through the technicalities of the business, the logistics, the small nuances of the paperwork, the nuances of a transaction. I'm doing a transaction in Florida. There's nuances in that transaction. Here I'm in real estate mastery in Colorado. And, even the deal in Florida is a different deal. And so people just need somebody to help them through it, to guide them through. And so I think that technology and the human together will continue to do that. And I'm not afraid of AI or where the business goes by any means. I'm actually very excited.
Yeah, me too. You can't be insecure and be successful at this. You have to embrace, you have to evolve and adapt. and you have to incorporate these tools into your tool belt.
Yeah. Yeah. What's next for you?
What's next for me? Be careful what you ask for in the world because they'll give it to you. One thing I know, I've done 75 hard a few times. I am cliche king. I could hit you with every single cliche you could ever want. This last year I asked to learn how to handle hard well. And man, did I get what I asked for. And we all go through it, but I've had both dads are sick with cancer. I got a stepdad, real dad sick with cancer. I got a mom that's sick. I got a family. Everyone can play the violin for themselves. So what's next for me is taking.
Yeah, but hold on, put a pin in that.
Okay.
This middle age is for the birds.
Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah. No, it doesn't totally suck, but it does suck. I mean,
right now
just
sucks,
about the time. Yeah, right. Just about the time you're done raising your kids. Your parents age and get sick, and that's not nothing. I mean, so, well, one, I hope that your dad and your stepdad come through this, but, this is where you reflect back in middle age. It was like you had to grow up in your 30s to be ready for this in your 40s, because this shit is hard, right? To have aging parents and to have sick parents and aging parents. So just to reflect back on that to you, to say, one, I hope that they come through this. And two, that this middle age, it presents this thing in life that is tricky because our parents are old.
Yeah, no, I really well said. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I don't mean to gloss over and speed through it. What I more so mean is through these experiences that we have, that we all go through, you kind of have a choice to handle hard well. That's why I do jujitsu. It's like nothing's harder than getting choked out by a guy in the morning. Like the real estate deal is not going to be harder than that, but like, my focus is to wake up with purpose, with drive, and to continue to do the things I know how to do that will be beneficial for me. So sometimes in life, and especially in this business, and how I think we're kind of wired, is I can get going too fast and get kind of stuck in tunnel vision. And what's next for me is to really kind of slow down and try to take it day by day and do the best I can.
Yeah, we talk about the speedboat in my business. I have a speedboat. And like the people around me would rather it be a pontoon. It would just be great if we could just get on the pontoon together some days. And well, this was fun. Anything else you wanted to talk about?
I guess I would just circle back around to the way we started. Just absolute unbelievable admiration for you. Thank you. I will always be on your side in your life and in your business. If you ever need anything, I'm a call away.
I like it.
And just continue to be your authentic self and to inspire. And I just appreciate you so much.
Yeah, thank you. You too. Thanks for coming, Adam.
Thanks for
Adam
having me.
Maxey, Colorado Home Realty.